Mark and Sarah had what everyone called the perfect marriage. They were high school sweethearts, the kind of couple you see in movies, finishing each other's sentences and sharing knowing glances across crowded rooms. For 10 years, their life was a beautiful tapestry woven with love, trust, and shared dreams. Mark, a dedicated architect, built a life for them, brick by brick, while Sarah, a vibrant marketing executive, filled their home with laughter and warmth. He couldn't imagine a world without her. She was his compass, his anchor, his everything. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, the threads of their perfect life began to unravel. It started with small things. Late nights at the office became more frequent for Sarah. She'd come home smelling of a perfume he didn't recognize. Her phone always faced down on the nightstand. When he'd ask about her day, her answers became vague, peppered with names of new colleagues he'd never met. "Oh, just a big project, Mark," she'd say, flashing a tired smile. You know how demanding the new campaign is? He wanted to believe her. He loved her. So he pushed the gnawing unease to the back of his mind. He told himself he was being insecure, that her career was taking off and he should be her biggest supporter, not her biggest doubter. He'd make her dinner, run her a bath, and try to ignore the growing distance between them. The excuses became more elaborate. Weekend work retreats he wasn't invited to, last-minute client dinners that stretched late into the night. One Saturday, he planned a surprise picnic, just like they used to do. He packed her favorite sandwiches and drove to her office, picturing the look of delight on her face. But her car wasn't in the parking lot. He called her, his heart pounding. "Hey, honey, where are you?" he asked, trying to keep his voice light. There was a pause. Then, "Oh, Mark, I'm so sorry. I got called into a last-minute brainstorming session at a coffee shop downtown. It's chaos. I'll be home as soon as I can." The lie was so smooth, so practiced. He sat in his car, the picnic basket on the passenger seat, and a cold dread washed over him. The trust he had cherished for a decade was crumbling, and he felt utterly powerless to stop it. He started noticing more. Text messages that would make her jump, followed by a quick, guilty glance in his direction. She started changing her passwords, something she'd never done before. He'd catch her smiling at her phone, a private, secretive smile that wasn't for him. The man who used to know every detail of her life now felt like a stranger living in his own home. The easy laughter that once filled their rooms was replaced by a tense, heavy silence. He was living in a state of constant anxiety, a tight knot of suspicion permanently lodged in his stomach. He was losing her, and he didn't even know who he was losing her to. He tried to talk to her, to bridge the chasm that was opening between them. "Sarah, is everything okay? You seem ... distant." She would just brush it off. "I'm just stressed, Mark. It's work. Please don't add to it." Her words were like a wall, shutting him out, making him feel like the problem. The breaking point came on a rainy Tuesday night. It was their anniversary. Mark had pulled out all the stops. He'd cooked her favorite meal, filled the dining room with candles, and bought a delicate silver locket he knew she'd love. He waited and waited. 8 o'clock became 9, then 10. He called her phone, but it went straight to voicemail, over and over again. Panic began to set in. He called her colleagues, her friends. No one had seen her since she left the office at 5. His mind raced with terrible possibilities. Had she been in an accident? Was she hurt? The fear was suffocating. Just as he was about to call the police, his phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. His hands trembled as he opened it. It was a single photo, a photo of Sarah. She was in a dimly lit bar, her head thrown back in laughter, her hand resting intimately on the arm of another man. The man was leaning in, whispering in her ear. They looked happy. They looked like a couple. The image seared itself into his brain. The world tilted on its axis, and the air was punched from his lungs. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a work emergency. It was a choice. Betrayal. The man in the photo was Alex, her new boss. It's the one she'd mentioned in passing, the name attached to all those late nights and weekend retreats. Suddenly, everything clicked into place. The vague answers, the hidden phone, the new perfumed, all formed a sickening, coherent picture. The foundation of his life, the trust he had so freely given, had been a lie. He felt a profound, hollow emptiness. The love of his life, the woman he would have done anything for, had chosen someone else. The beautiful tapestry of their marriage was now just a pile of ruined threads at his feet. He didn't sleep that night. He just sat at the candlelit table, the uneaten anniversary dinner growing cold, staring at the photo on his phone. Each time he looked at it, a fresh wave of pain crashed over him. He thought of their vows, the promises they made to love and cherish each other in sickness and in health. Had any of it meant anything to her? When Sarah finally came home in the early hours of the morning, she found him exactly where he'd been all night. She started to launch into another excuse. "Mark, I am so sorry. My phone died," and he just held up his phone, showing her the picture. Her face went pale. The practiced lies died on her lips. For the first time in months, there was no excuse, no deflection. Just the ugly, undeniable truth hanging in the air between them. The silence in the room was deafening. Sarah sank onto a chair, her head in her hands. "Mark, I don't know what to say." "There's nothing to say, Sarah," he replied, his voice devoid of emotion, hollowed out by the pain. "You made your choice." The days that followed were a blur of heartache. Every corner of the home they had built together was a painful reminder of what he had lost. He saw her face in every photograph, heard her laughter echoing in the empty rooms. He had tried so hard to believe her, to hold on to the woman he loved. But the truth he had feared was far more devastating than he could have ever imagined. And he had given her his whole heart, and she had shattered it without a second thought. The road ahead was long and uncertain. Healing from a betrayal this deep wouldn't be easy. It would take time to rebuild his life, to learn to trust again. But as the sun rose on a new day, Mark knew one thing for sure. He deserved more, deserved honesty, loyalty, and a love that didn't hide in the shadows. The perfect marriage was a mirage, but his own worth was real. He had to find the strength to let go of the past and build a new future, one brick at a time, for himself. This wasn't the end of his story. It was the painful, necessary beginning of a new chapter. Thank you for watching. If you've ever faced a difficult situation like this, know that you're not alone and that there is strength in choosing to heal and move forward. Remember to subscribe for more stories.